Addy soldiers. Hello, all my girls, gays, theys, and allies. I hope you're all having a wonderful Pride Month so far. It's like kind of late at night right now, and so this is not iced coffee, this is just water, although I am in fact drinking, what even is this? A zero sugar Coke, so caffeine is being consumed tonight, and we'll see if this is a good idea at about 11 p.m. And unfortunately, I do not have any Lesbos-specific earrings. I do have some moths and moons, which is incredibly bisexual of me. And bisexuals are sapphics, which brings me to the topic of today's video. That's called a segue. This last week, I've been tagged in a bunch of Instagram compilations of, like, people you should follow for Pride Month, so thank you if any of you have said that. But a couple of people specifically said that I was good for sapphic book recommendations, and like, okay, I'll take your word for it. And usually when people use the word sapphic, they mean people who are lesbians or women who love women. However, that's not technically the only definition of it. To be sapphic means that you are a non-man who also is attracted to non-men. So if you are non-binary or gender fluid or agender or bisexual or pansexual, you still count as sapphic. And while I've done a bunch of gay book related videos, I haven't done one specifically on sapphics, or at least I haven't done it in a really long time. So let's give the people what they want, and without further ado, grab a drink, grab a snack, buckle in, and we're gonna talk about 8 of my favorite sapphic novels. Why 8? I don't know. It just seemed like a nice number. Couple caveats though. Number 1, these will all be adult books because I just wanted to. Should I... Okay, hold on. Oh, of course this one. What else do I got over here? Oh, that one too. Oh, of course, all of my Dahlia Adlers. Oh, and how could I forget House of Hollow? Okay, here's a list of a bunch of really good YA sapphic books, okay? Take a screenshot or something, because they're going away in 3, 2, 1. Second caveat is that I picked 8 sapphic books, and I have many more than 8 sapphic books, so if your favorite sapphic book isn't on this list, go make your own video. But I'm centering the 8 books that I think that, as Bernadette Benner would say, tis peak. And lastly, these are only books that have sapphic characters as the main character, not as just the side or the side plot. That all being said, let's get into the stack of books that I have a big ol' lesbian crush on. Can I say that as a bisexual? Is that appropriating lesbian culture? I am a lesbian ally, actually. I have many friends who are lesbians. In fact, my girlfriend's a lesbian. Plus, it's a reference to arguably one of the queerest girl movies of all time, so I think it's okay. Should we start off with something cute? Let's start off with something cute. Let's start off with a book that matches my makeup and my look today. Why don't we? Let's talk about the quintessential queer girl rom-com that has a special place in my heart, and I cannot be threatened, coerced, or needled into believing otherwise. Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring-Blake is one of the best rom-coms that I've ever read. And because this is my video on my channel, and because I'm an adult and you're not my real dad and I can do whatever I want, I'm also going to include After Parker Doesn't Fail, the sequel companion novel, as one. So these are going to be referred to as one unit. A lot of parents out there are like, I don't have a favorite child. Well, I do. But I'm not going to tell you which one it is. Delilah Green is a New York photographer who has to return to her small town for her stepsister's wedding, but then when she gets there, one of her sister's friends, Claire, starts making eyes at her, and they have a whole situationship while it turns out that Astrid's stepsister is maybe getting cold feet about the wedding, and like nothing is quite as it seems, is trying to like reconnect with family, but also old friends, but also like figure out the person that you become and like where you're meant to belong. I love Delilah because she is simultaneously the person that I want to be, but also the person that I want to be on. She gives absolutely no fucks, and it's so fun to see her launch information at her family and just watch everybody crumble apart. But Claire and Delilah together are so wonderful, and I love to see the way that their relationship progresses, and their banter is good, the sexy times are very sexy, and the whole time you can understand where both of their fears and insecurities are coming from, but like you're rooting for them to get together. It's cute, it's clever, it's complicated, has great family drama while also being intensely relatable. Homophobic. You now see why I have a favorite child. Secondly, my favorite sapphic books has quite the cult following, and I feel very secure in saying that because Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir certainly has a fan base. Some of y'all are crazy. Whenever I post about this book, half the comments are, oh my god, Gideon, I love Harrow! And then the other half of the comments are, what the actual fuck was this? And you know what? Fair. No one knows what's happening, and we're all having a wonderful time. I think the biggest marketing ploy that they messed up with this book is they referring to it as enemies to lovers. And I literally did a whole video a little while ago on like, queer people don't owe you romance. because this book does not have romance in it, but because it's lesbian necromancers in space, everyone was like, oh my god, the romance aspect, even though it's like not really a thing. I think a more accurate way to describe Gideon is dark comedy murder mystery gothic set in space with necromantic powers, and also there are some lesbians. Quick rundown, there are 9 houses across the galaxy of necromancer families. And one day, the heir apparents to all these houses and their right-hand man, Cavalier, are all called to this backwater planet where a murder mystery ensues. This is gross, this is unhinged, it is darkly hilarious, delightful and disturbing. There's plenty of blood, gore, guts, and meme references that this book is my honest-to-God fetish. And yes, everything you've heard about this is correct. It is incredibly confusing and very, very weird because we have multiple unreliable narrators, but I think that's what makes it fun because you're like, I have no idea what's going on, and then the end hits and you're like, what the fuck did I just read? So if you can make a mind map of like who is who and related to whom, then you can super sleuth your way through all of the necromantic dealings going on in this household. There are books on this list that are cute queer rom-coms or fantasy books with romantic subplots. This book is some lesbians in space swinging swords around, making bad decisions, and raising the dead. Another small sapphic sci-fi that I would highly recommend is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. One of these days, I will get their names off in one go. We got a little wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey extravaganza of rivals to lovers across the 4 dimensions that are space and time, where red and blue are time agents on opposite sides of the time war between corporations who have like taken over in the future, and while they each know they are supposed to be targeting the other person for assassination, they are slowly falling in love with one another by leaving love notes across time and space in odd places for the other. This has some of the most beautiful romantic writing that I have read in such a long time. Like, oh my god, I believe in love again. But the places that they leave the love notes are so cool. One of them leaves them in the rings of a tree that someone comes and cuts down to read, or another one of them writes it into the genetic code of a bee that goes and lands and stings the other one. What? I'm gonna have to apologize in advance to any person I date in the future because I do not have the money, time, or forward-thinking skills to be that romantic. This book really is unique, from the outstanding writing to this wild plot line to the cool formatting. Like, this book is beautiful and it is queer, but it is a love story in a much different way than a lot of the other romantic queer books that we'll talk about today. I just finished reading this last month and I'm so glad that I did, because this is the perfect little tiny sci-fi book that you could pick up if you want to get into sci-fi books, or you want to get into sapphic literature, or you just want something quick and easy and short to read during Pride Month. I got your girl right here. Now let's say you want something on the opposite spectrum of gays in space. I got you there too, because if you're looking for a super cool, very thought-provoking, inducing, Jesus Christ, you went to an English degree for 8 years, a thought-provoking, fast and fiery urban fantasy that I adored this year, Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson, is phenomenal. And if you disagree with me, respectfully, I will commit arson. We follow a former friend group of English witches who all, in some capacity or another, work for the HMRC. When they were adolescents, a magic war split apart many of the magic factions, and now that they are all grown adults in their 30s, and another civil war is brewing amongst them, they have to reflect on past relationships, and some betrayals are closer to home than they think. And everyone's feelings come to a head when a new witch appears in town, and it might be one of the first trans witches that they have ever accepted. So the whole book is a big allegory for trans rights, and particularly trans women existing in traditionally cis women spaces, which leads to the reflection and breaking down of tradition and what it means to be feminist, what it means to be a woman, and what it means to be accepted in society. Just like Gideon the Ninth, this is an example of a book that is sapphic because there are multiple sapphic characters in this, but it does not focus on being sapphic. The whole point is focusing on trans rights and religion and tradition and what it means to be a witch and own magic and be responsible with that magic. So not only does this go into government politics and like coven politics, but it also goes into family politics and friend politics, and that is It's so interesting and intriguing. Like, yeah, we're kissing ladies, but like that's kind of on the back burner right now, okay? We have more important things to think about. Queer people are just out here living their lives, and in this case, they happen to be witches and also happen to be trying to save the world because of demons. Let's do another cute rom-com, shall we? I'm gonna talk about one that I finished just last week, and I actually have it in my last video, because Harlequin, bless their souls, sent me Devon and Chris Plan a Wedding by Chancey C. Higgins, which, yes, I did in fact say wrong in the video that Harlequin sponsored. I need to take the L and leave. Recently, I've discovered something about myself, and that is that I don't like reality TV shows, but I love books that center a reality TV show, and this is just exactly that. Devon and Chris are on the latest season of Instant I Do, which is a show where two people meet and then have to convince their families that they are desperately in love and they're planning a wedding, and they have only 6 weeks to do it. And if they can successfully convince their families, they both win, they win a ton of money. But Chris and Devon may actually be falling for one another and things get complicated. I was at home by myself in my living room on my couch cackling out loud to myself because this book is so fucking funny. It is so freaking cute and yet also like spicy as hell. I'm doing a lot of shoulder movements today. I don't know if it's like because I'm taking burlesque classes or just this shirt cut or I don't know. The chemistry sizzles. I love the two of them together. Their banter, the dynamic is so good. They're also very open with one another, which I really appreciate. Also, there's a little bit in here on what it's like to date an influencer. So maybe I'll make my partner read this. This whole book, and especially the ending, is just like such a feel-good book. I flew through this in a day. It is just an easy, sweet, spicy, funny rom-com, along with some of the drama of reality TV. So if you can find this in stores, because this has been sold out almost everywhere that I've gone the last little while, if you can find a copy of this, I would highly recommend picking it up. You know what? While we're at it, let's just stick this theme of cute queer couples getting together during reality TV shows, because I have another one on this list that I happen to really love, and that is Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly, where contestants Dahlia and London meet and have to compete while on a cooking show, but then also get a little fired up themselves. Dahlia used to have this kind of perfect life with a husband and a house, but realized that life wasn't what she wanted. London is non-binary and has come out to their family and is like doing kind of not super great, and they meet on set and they're both super awkward about it, but they're both really cute, and chaos ensues. The cooking show itself kind of reminds me of a combination of like Top Chef, but also a little bit like Nailed It. There are no weird cakes, but there are a couple of flying fish tacos. Something that I appreciate about this book, it explores the complexity of queer relationships, especially with Dahlia not really having a queer relationship before and her kind of overthinking things, and then what it's like to be with someone who's non-binary, and like the language that you use and how you ask them permission to do certain things. And I thought that was really good. And like, yes, there are some steamy parts to this, but also I like what they did with those as well, because it really goes into negotiation and, you know, advocating for what you like in yourself and in a partner and with your own body, and just like, you know, again, communication's key, right? So like cute queer couple, check. Good sexy times, check. Amazing, delicious sounding food, check. That's hitting all my boxes. That really bakes my cake. No, really leavens my loaf. No, that's not better. It really crisps my edges. I give up. It's like past 9 p.m. and obviously the caffeine never kicked in. Number 7, we're returning to My Quantum Queers, My Floaty Fruits, My Space Gays, a full crew of femme queers and other sapphic folks all making bad decisions. May I interest you in 7 Devils by L.R. Lamb and Elizabeth May. Eris faked her own death to escape being the heiress of the galaxy's most ruthless government and is now being recruited into the opposing resistance. And of course she butts heads with Resistance leader and co-pilot Chloe, but the two of them have to go on a mission together, but they find 3 stowaway fugitives on their ship, and it turns out that they have deeper information about how to take down the current empire and end the cruel regime across the galaxy once and for all. This is a bleak sci-fi world, my guy. We are growing people in vats and disturbing alien peace summits and maybe releasing plagues across the entire galaxy. There are body mods and nutrient cubes and intergalactic space politics, and everybody's gay. Everyone in this book is so damn cool and either is a cinnamon roll or somebody that would kick my ass if I called them a cinnamon roll, but I love them all anyway. Eris is such a cool character because of her training to be Eris. It means that she's had to fight all of her other siblings to the death, and there's been like 500 of her other siblings, because again, we're growing people in vats. So the way that she thinks about people and connections and approaching problems is so wild. But then eventually, as we get more of a found family kind of crew together, watching her heart melt is like so wonderful to see. But then also some of the fugitive characters that we get to know are so integral stereotypes to sci-fi, and there's like a really good twist on all of them, especially Ariadne. I would freaking die for her. This just shows a range of how freaking badass all these Sapphics can be. Prime example of how women should be in power, because when women and other Sapphics are in power, we get shit done. I just realized now I never said that I was gonna put these in any particular order, and I'm not. But I'm realizing now that number 8 might actually be my favorite, so I might have saved the best for last. I literally got a tattoo put permanently on my body over this book. I sat in a chair for 2 sessions of like 3 hours. So I sat in a chair for like 6.5 hours, having someone stab me repeatedly so that I could have an homage to this book permanently etched onto me. It is A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. If you want to see more thoughts on this book and also my tattoo reveal, videos in the corner. So like this girl, she thick with 3 C's, and I loved every single one of these incredibly queer, incredibly fantastical pages. You know Samantha Shannon from Priory of the Orange Tree fame, and A Day of Fallen Night is the prequel to this book, and I have to put one of these down. I'm old, my wrist is already rebelling. Hefty lady. This takes place 500 years before Priory, during the grief of ages and the first time that evil arose from the earth to sow chaos. We do follow some of the ancestors of characters in Priory, so it's really fun making those connections and really cool to see how she built up the world of Priory. I know some people didn't like Priory. They thought it meandered a little bit in the middle, and you know what? That's fair. But Day of Fallen Night hits differently, bitch. Okay, you can tell that she has honed her craft. Epic fantasy about loyalty and legacy and motherhood and friendship. We have the perspective of the legendary warrior Glorian Shieldheart, but she's 15 years old and just became queen after a horrible accident. We see a prioress at the height of the Priory, but she's training recruits who don't believe that evil exists anymore. We're also following a girl whose mother's fate catches up with her, and it turns out that she is heir to a dynasty that in Priory no longer exists in the same way. And of course, there are dragons. The court politics were so intricately done, and all of the emotions that all of these women are having because of the different things that they're facing and the way that they're trying to deal with loyalty and their own sense of self is just like so heart-pounding. And then all the dragons are so dragony. 2 of our main characters are Sapphic, and it was so great to see the different types of Sapphic relationships that people can have, especially based on where they are and how their culture acts about it, and also their ages, because we have a variety of ages with all of our main characters. Some of them are very young and some of them are in their like middle ages. Middle-aged. It's late, y'all. And earlier I was watching a bunch of tasting history videos, so the medieval age is on my mind. So if you've ever wandered by her and be like, who is she and what is she up to? You gotta pick this up. It's absolutely worth it, because I was crying so hard I couldn't breathe at the end of it, and yet it gave me such a wonderful, like, full-chested catharsis. I literally got a tattoo of it. Like, it has cemented itself in my heart as one of my favorite books of all time. Now, if you've seen the title, which I'm assuming the majority of you have, I've titled it in some variation of subject to change, and that's because I am forever and always discovering new things that I love, right? So like maybe in a year, some of these will get replaced. So this is a stack of books that I want to read this summer, because Sapphic Summer, Hot Gay Summer. In the spirit of Delilah Green, I have Sizzle Reel by Carlin Greenwald. By cinematographer meets A-list actress, bad film studio time, they fall in love. Sounds adorable. In the vein of Harlequin romances, An Island Princess Starts a Scandal by Adriana Herrera. Historical romp about 2 ladies living it up in France. And I have a feeling that because I've read some of Adriana Herrera's other works, that this book is going to be spicy. Similar to Her Majesty's Royal Coven, Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall, which is a Regency era fantasy about a witch having to take a curse off of a lady, but then oh, maybe we fall in love. And then multiple fantasy books, including The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. I know this is the 3rd of the Sapphic trifecta, which is The Unbroken, Priory of the Orange Tree, and The Jasmine Throne. And no, I have not read it yet, and yes, I feel bad about it. And going along with that, Final Strife by Sarah L. Arifi, because she's friends with both the author of Priory of the Orange Tree and Jasmine Throne. So this feels unfair that I have done them and not done her. Oh my god, whoa. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be so presumptuous, Sarah. Ooh, fantasy world with magic trials, but then also like murder mysteries. And everyone that I know that has read this is like, Rachel, you're gonna love it. I'm like, I'm sure I will. I just haven't gotten my shit together yet. And lastly, the only one that is an advanced copy, and that is The Water Outlaws by S.L. Huang, which is an epic fantasy that is a gender-spun retelling of the Chinese classic novel The Water Margin. Crew of all-female warrior bandits and also like political machinations and taking down an empire. Obviously, I want to read this. This comes out in... Can I read? August. Pride Month is only half over, which means that I can get to at least 2 or 3 of those in the meantime. And, you know, we'll see if next year this is an entirely different list. As always, please leave your recommendations in the comments down below. Have I only read Sapphic Books this month? Where's my phone? I have to check this. Gotta pull up Goodreads and fact check my own life. Oh no, okay, I did in fact read one gay guy novel. And it's the only one I DNF'd this month. The rest of them have been queer girls. It was my birthday last week, so I'm officially 28 years old, which is a fake number. I don't feel a day over 27 and a half. And you know what? I'm the happiest and gayest I've ever been. All I want is a hot girl sapphic summer, and that also extends to the books that I want to read. But part of being 28 is having a job where I have 8 a.m. meetings every day this week, and it's already much later than it should be, so I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. You know where you click to like the video, you know where you click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day or night wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!